A service can contain several service methods. But the basic rule about service method is every service method should return a value. A service method should return a value. So here you are defining with the return type as string, the return type as string. We don't need to do that. Type inferences are present. We don't need to do that because TypeScript now doesn't require any representation of types even for the properties also. It uses type inference. Through that internally it will identify what the type it is. But every service method should return a value. Okay. In this method, generate code is a method. In this method, I am defining let a. So a is equal to, I am configuring math.random. It's a method, mathematical function, which returns a random number. So it's a mathematical function that returns random number. But every number starts with 0.78. But I want a integer value. Then we can use into 10. That means it will multiply with 10 and returns a perfect integer value. Similarly, I will copy the others. So that means we want some 5 numbers. So that is A, B, C, and D and E. Okay. All are generating an individual random number. All are generating individual random numbers. Okay. After that, I will create a code. This code comprises of a combination of these numbers. All the numbers are presented in one. Then I will use here, while printing that number, I don't want any fraction to be printed. Sometimes fractions will come. Then we need to round the value. So I will use math.round, round to a. So that means a value is rounded. So the same I need to present with all. That means copy and round B and space round C and space and round D and space round E. It's a string with spaces. That means all numbers are printed with spaces. And finally it is present in code. And our service method should return that code. That means whenever you are using this service method generate code, it is going to generate the code and return the code. A random code with 5 random numbers, it is going to generate that and display that, right? So service is ready. We have the service ready. After the service is ready, now we need to register this service. A service can contain any number of service methods. Currently it is having only one. And this capture service I want to use in my registration form. You cannot use any service directly. You have to register. So to register a service, we need to go to app module. And in the app module, we have to register in providers. Into providers, we need to register that capture service. So the capture service is now registered. And actually, capture service is injected at the application root level, application level. at application level. So once it is injected into application level, now I can access and use in any component. Currently, I want to use in register component. Then in register component, we have to inject that service. To inject the service, when register component is initialized, on initialization, the service must be ready. Then we have to here use an event on init, and our component should implement. It implements on init. That means it should have ng on init method implemented. This is the component cycle method, and we have a constructor. So at the time of allocating memory for this register component, I want the service object to be created. So into the constructor, I am passing a private object because I want this service object to be accessed only within this constructor, means within this class. I don't want it to be used across the classes. So then private, and I will give the name as capture, and it is of type capture service. So we have to import the capture service, and we need to create a reference for that capture service. Whenever the class is loaded into memory, constructor will create an object capture. So it will load the capture service into memory, which you can access by using this capture reference. And on component initialization, what should happen now is I will just create one property. I will create a property. So the property is code. Okay. So on initialization, what should happen? This dot code, it should contain the code coming from capture service method. Capture service have a method called generate code, and you can now access that by using this capture reference. That means capture this dot capture. So this dot capture dot generate code, that is the method which is returning the code. So capture service is having a method called generate code, and through that generate code, it is generating a code and returning the code which is stored in this code. So now what we will do is, so we will simply present this code. So in the HTML, in this div, I will just add a header, suppose header, and I'm just keeping here code. The code is kept here, and you can see that. So a random code will come here, verify code. So a random code is coming here, and very important is I will reload the page, and next time it will come with a different code. Of course, you can keep a refresh button, and through that refresh button, you can make the code regenerated every time, right? So that means refresh the code and you can regenerate everything. Actually, suppose we have font awesome, right? So this is the font awesome library. And in this font awesome library, so we have